when you hear a scary growl and a scream in the night, it's time for Famous Monster Fighter! Episode 5, Deadly Doll.
I fought a lot of monsters, but I almost met my match with a magician with power over toys. Here's how it happened.
It was my birthday. My parents threw a party for me. My favorite present was a beautiful doll. I'm a doll collector, so I just loved it. After the cake and ice cream and the presents, we went to a magic show downtown. I brought my doll with me. The magician's name was Marvelous Mysterio, and he was pretty good. But he made one mistake. It was an accident. I couldn't help laughing. I never would have if I had any idea that he was an evil magician.
Dolus Demonicus.
And he went right back on with the show. Afterwards, we said how weird that moment was. But I didn't think about it again until I brought my doll home. Late that night, she changed. She looked horrible and scary. When I was looking right at her, she turned her head and looked at me, just like she was alive. I freaked out. I didn't want her near me anymore. So I threw her away out in the garage. When I went to bed that night, I ran to the bathroom. But before I could lock the door, when I looked in the mirror, I saw her behind me. I ran straight to the living room. My parents called the Famous Monster Fighter.
Hello?
Hello, Famous Monster Fighter? We have a problem.
As soon as I got the call, I knew I needed to help. I've heard of other deadly dolls, and I've just been itching to fight one. So I stopped by the armory and got my trusty slingshot. As I looked at the doll, I knew right away that the doll was under a spell. The real monster wasn't the doll, it was the magician. We'd have to go to the theater to see if we could break the spell. As soon as we got to the theater, we found Marvelous Mysterio's dressing room. My plan was to ambush him when he came out, but Annie rushed in. I knew it was a deadly mistake when I heard the alarm go off. Without a second to lose, I was right behind her. The dressing room is pitch black, so I put on my night vision goggles. The room was filled with his deadly apparatus. I saw that Annie had been caught in his magical chains. But before I could free her, I set off the alarm myself. Mysterio magically appeared and turned on the lights. I was completely blinded. Then he opened fire with his magic wand. I couldn't get close enough to fight him hand to hand. I'd have to rely on my trusty slingshot. In a jiffy, I grabbed his wand and turned it back on.
Catch you meddling kids!
As soon as the magician was defeated, the doll was back to her normal, beautiful self.
Thank you, Famous Monster Fighter.
I taught that magician not to mess with other people's toys. And if you want more monster fighting adventures and safety about monsters, make sure you like and subscribe this video.
In this episode, an evil magician turned a doll into a monster. But some toys can be dangerous even without magic, especially for babies and toddlers. If you have a little brother or sister at home, be sure to keep toys with small parts out of their reach and pick up your toys when you are done playing with them. Check with your mom and dad if you aren't sure a toy is safe.
And remember, the famous monster fighter is out there, so you don't have to sleep with your light on.